Starbucks just got hit with a $50 million verdict over a spilled drink. And if you think that sounds ridiculous, that's exactly what they want you to think. I'm Peter Geraci, personal injury lawyer, and what I'm about to show you isn't just about coffee burns. It's about how billion-dollar corporations rewrite the narrative and how this case pulls back the curtain on decades of spin, propaganda, and a system designed to protect profits over people. Now here's what actually happened in this case. In 2020, Michael Garcia was working as a delivery driver in Los Angeles. He pulls into a Starbucks drive-thru and orders 2 cups of hot tea. The Starbucks employee hands him the cups in one of those cardboard drink carriers, but here's the issue. The lids weren't secure. The tea was scalding hot and the tray wasn't stable. As Garcia took the tray, the cup spilled, sending boiling hot tea straight into his lap. Now, we're not talking about a minor burn or some ruined pants. He suffered second and third degree burns to his lower abdomen, groin, thighs, and buttocks. He had to undergo skin graft surgery. He missed significant work. And since then, he's dealt with ongoing pain, nerve damage, and disfigurement. This wasn't about a little spill. This was a preventable accident that left him with permanent, life-altering injuries. And earlier this month, a Los Angeles jury awarded him $50 million in damages, both for his physical injuries and the suffering that followed. Now let's pause, because this is the part where people say, wait, $50 million? That's ridiculous. That's why our legal system is broken and why I'm paying so much for everything. But here's the thing. That reaction, it's exactly what corporations and insurance companies want you to think. It's the result of decades of PR spin, a deliberate effort to paint injury victims as greedy and lawsuits as being out of control. Let's break that number down to really see what makes up that $50 million. A large chunk of it is for past and future medical expenses, which are enormous in cases involving multiple surgeries and permanent scarring. Another portion is for lost wages. This man couldn't work for a long time and frankly may not ever return to full capacity. He's owed something for that. And yes, a major part of that $50 million is pain and suffering. Because when your life is permanently altered, when you can't sit, walk, or function without pain, that's worth something. This wasn't about hitting Starbucks with a cash grab. It was about holding a billion-dollar company accountable for handing scalding liquid to a customer in an unsafe container, knowing full well what could happen. So legally, why did Starbucks lose this case? At the end of the day, it boils down to negligence and foreseeability. Negligence means the failure to take reasonable steps to prevent harm, and foreseeability means that the harm was something a reasonable person could anticipate would happen. Starbucks trains its employees, right? It knows how hot its beverages are. It knows unstable drink trays and unsecured lids are a hazard. And that's exactly what the jury found. They found that they were 100% liable, meaning the company had every opportunity to prevent this and didn't. And keep in mind, this wasn't just a customer walking in off the street. Garcia was handed the drink by an employee through a drive-thru window. This is 100% on them. They weren't just negligent, they knew this could happen and still failed to fix it. Now let's take a detour for a second, because when people hear about these hot beverage lawsuits, they immediately think of the infamous McDonald's hot coffee case. You know the one. Everyone thinks that some lady spilled some coffee in her lap and walked away with millions of dollars. Right? Wrong. Let me give you the truth. That woman's name was Stella Liebeck. And in 1992, she was 79 years old when she suffered third-degree burns to her pelvis, requiring skin grafts and 2 years of medical treatment. McDonald's had received 700+ complaints about burns from their coffee being served at dangerously high temperatures, around 180 to 190 degrees. And they admitted they knew this was dangerous, but they did it anyway because it was standard policy. Sound familiar? The jury awarded her $2.7 million in damages, which accounts to roughly 2 days worth of McDonald's coffee sales. Why? Partially to send a message, right? If you endanger customers knowingly, you pay. And part of her damages were punitive, right? The idea is to punish wrong behavior. But after the McDonald's case, McDonald's and the insurance lobby went into PR overdrive, painting it as an example of lawsuit abuse. They turned it into a joke, a punchline. And you even take a look at some of the news articles that have come out about the Starbucks case and you see the same thing. You see that PR propaganda really coming into effect and showing in the comments that people are making. Oh, that's way too much money. Oh, now I'm gonna have to pay way more for everything that I already pay for nowadays. Oh, I can't believe this guy in his frivolous lawsuit, he got all this money. I mean, it's just ridiculous. And like we've seen, the public has now become conditioned to distrust injury victims, even when they've been horribly hurt, as both of the victims were here. Let's talk about the big picture here. What's really going on? Whenever a big verdict like this hits the news, you'll hear the phrases, "This is why we need tort reform. We've got to cap damages. These lawsuits are driving up costs for everyone." But here's the truth. Tort reform isn't about protecting consumers. It's about protecting corporations. It's pushed by the insurance industry and big businesses who don't want to be held accountable when they hurt people. Tort reform is designed to cap damages so corporations can budget for negligence, so they can limit access to the courts for everyday people, and ultimately protect profits at the expense of safety. You know who loves tort reform? Insurance companies. Because it lets them pay less on claims, avoid going to trial, and vilify injured people as greedy or dishonest. And anytime some sort of tort reform is about to go through and any of the legislators are trying to get some commitment from the insurance companies that they're not going to raise premiums or that they're going to lower premiums if something like this were to go into effect, the insurance companies refuse. They deny. All they care about is making more money. You look at states where tort reform has been implemented. One of the most recent cases of that happening is down in Florida. The insurance companies promised, hey, yeah, we'll reduce our rates, we'll reduce premiums. This is gonna be really good for everybody in the community if we cap damages, if we do so-and-so. And the legislature believed it, and so they bought into it. But you look at it now, and Florida still has the highest insurance premium rates of any other state out there. If anything, it's gotten worse, and the only people that stand to benefit, the only entity that stands to benefit, are the insurance companies. This is why cases like the Starbucks verdict matter. They push back against that narrative. They show that juries, regular people, can still hold billion-dollar companies accountable when somebody gets seriously hurt. Look, at the end of the day, this Starbucks case isn't about a guy trying to get rich off a spill. It's about a preventable injury, a company that knew the risks, and a man whose life will never be the same. If we lived in a world where companies always did the right thing, maybe we wouldn't need lawsuits like this, but they don't. And without some form of accountability, without the civil justice system doing its job, there's no reason for them to change. So before you roll your eyes at another hot drink lawsuit or windfall verdict, take a second. Because behind every headline, there's a human being in pain fighting a billion-dollar company just to be made whole. And thanks to this verdict, Michael Garcia took that fight and won. All right, guys, if you found this breakdown helpful and want to understand how real injury cases work without the insurance company spin, make sure to subscribe and check out this next video where I break down what actually determines how much a personal injury case is worth. And if you've ever been hurt by someone else's negligence and want to know what your case might be worth, reach out. Until next time, stay sharp and don't believe everything the media and the insurance companies want you to think.